Over the years, because of so many athletic things, my body has become very injured. I stayed some time with the shamans. Pray, we have gods in the shape of statues, they have gods in the shape of plants. And one of the plant being ayahuasca, which is considered a very sacred plant in the Amazons. And I had the experience of drinking it with the shamans, and it was a very life changing experience for me. It's not sharing with people from a space of like I know better. No, it's I read my books more than other people read because they help me. I was finding myself reading UNHERD last month, and I was like, wow, these words are really helpful.
Yeah, hello sir. How's
uh,
everything going on? Yeah. So basically coming on to myself, yeah, this is Sai Shir. I basically completed my masters from Central University of Punjab and currently pursuing my PhD from Naipur Ahmedabad. And first of all, I want to say like I'm very excited with talking with you today. I got to know about while I was doing my B pharmacy. So I read an article in a newspaper somewhere that a person is traveling in South India for a certain distance, and I got to know about like what is this. Then I got researched about you and known about your book like The Life Unknown, and I ordered it in Amazon and I purchased it and I studied it. It was really an like journey is towards it, and it was one of the best book for me. So I have read so far. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So coming on to welcome to SS Podcast, sir. So basically today our guest is Kartikeya Ladha. He is an accidental writer, found worldwide recognition with Dream Beyond Shadows, his Indian travel account. Life Unknown was another Amazon hit. Leaving his American life behind, he embarked on a quest for profound truth, fueling imaginative work, reflecting human essence. His recent creation, UNHERD, a fictional tale of love, wisdom, and strength, is a global sensation covered by 81 news sources that is which has been published around in G News, Times of India, India Today. Welcome, sir. Welcome to SS Podcast. So, shall we dive into the topics? Like I had to ask you many things. First of all, my question would be: I know I read about you in books, and but I want to personally hear from you. So, what made you to take this journey and talk about your experiences with this ayahuasca wine?
Yeah, it all happened very long time ago now. So yeah, and I shared about these things in Dream Beyond Shadows. When I left New York, I ended up traveling to South America, to Peru, to Amazons, and over there I stayed some time with the shamans, who are basically the indigenous. You can think of them as the indigenous pundits of Amazon, and they pray. We have gods in the shape of statues. They have gods in the shape of plants. They consider plants to be their gods, and one of the plant being ayahuasca, which is considered a very sacred plant in the Amazons. And I had the experience of drinking it with the shamans, and it was a very life changing experience for me. My whole time in that Amazon jungle. And yeah, it completely changed my perception about reality. It helped me understand the reality in a much broader way than what we are limited to or conditioned to believe and see it as, which is just a form of a conditioning, actually, and a limitation set on us, regardless of where we are born or where we come from. So yeah, it helped me completely opened many doors to the spaces of perception. And I personally felt very inspired after my time in the Amazon. And I just started writing as a byproduct of that. And eventually that writings got shared in India. And yeah, that time when all of this happened, nobody knew about this stuff in India. I think I was one of the first people who wrote something about these topics, not knowing I was one of the first people to do so. Yeah, so it just happened. All of it just happened. There was no plan behind it. There was no thinking behind it, and yeah, it's almost Dream Beyond Shadows was launched in 2018 December, the first edition. So we are completing now 6 years this year, and we'll be launching a sixth edition book this year for Dream Beyond Shadows. And yeah, I never imagined it would inspire thousands of Indian youth. So I'm very grateful that I got to write that book. And yeah, I hope this answers the question. I'm very much, whenever people ask me questions, I just go on another loop of answering something, and then it ends up being something else.
My question was like, what was the calling for you to go there? Like for me, even though whatever the success I have made, like so far, clearing some competitive exams and having good food, uh, like friends, good friends and society, but I left with some void space within me, like being to be happy. So that void space made you to go there, or is that like a calling from a dream to come there, something like that?
Yeah, it was definitely something like that. Calling from external sources, but also internal sources. You know, everything is one at the end of the day. So if something is missing inside, we try to find it outside. And we try to find it first in our work, our family, our all these things. And it's not a wrong approach, but for me, it wasn't working. And I felt I needed to go deeper in myself. And for that, I had to go deeper in the mysteries of this world, which I didn't fully know about. So it was a mix of both internal and external calling for sure. And you know, the word calling is very commercialized now. You know, everybody's having a calling, which is great. But yeah, I wasn't thinking of it at the time like I've had a calling or blah 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 blah. It all happened so quickly, so instantaneously, and without much thought, um, that it all just happened. I think one thing that was there, and it's still prevalent now in the way I operate, even though there are many. I've been kind of going through a very similar process in some sense in the last 6 months as well. And the main thing about that I can share about it is that it was about not being in fear. And I could feel at that time, and even now, I feel whenever fear comes up for me, I know it's something I need to look at and I need to overcome it. So it was more like journeying into understanding fear, understanding suffering, understanding pain, where they come from, why, and how to overcome it. So that was, yeah, more the inspiration, you can say.
Actually tried to connect with you like 4 years before when I was doing in my B.Pharm. I did some messages in Instagram, but I couldn't get reply. But fortunately, now I got a chance to speaking with you. And where are currently living, sir? Where do you live right now?
I'm mostly, most months out of 1 year, I'm based out of Goa.
Yeah.
And other months, I'm usually traveling. Right now, I'm in Delhi,
Okay.
in Noida actually. So I'm here for the summer, and then soon I'll be going back to Goa. So I'm mostly, for last 5 years, I've been on and off based out of Goa mostly.
So I know I read in your book that you have gone through 1,000 kilometers of pilgrimage on foot to South India. What was your favorite thing that happened a moment in that journey?
Favorite thing?
Yeah.
Wow, it feels like so long ago. What was my favorite thing on that journey? Just waking up every morning and walking was my favorite thing, because it was such a, every day was so different, every day was so new. I was seeing so many different things, but also so many similar things, and more importantly, I was seeing myself change every day in that walk in a very exponential manner. So it was completely it was like an acid trip, you know. I don't know if you've done acid ever. I was younger, I did it, and it was like I was on a natural acid trip. I was traveling through such an expanded state of consciousness every day there. And my favorite thing was actually, as I was walking, I would get to interact with so many people. They would just come up, they were so friendly, and, you know, like normal, common people. And that was very heart touching for me. It definitely made me trust more in humanity, in life. You know, because I think nowadays we live with so much separation. We live in apartments, we live in cities, we live in our digital world, we live in social media, and we're physically so disconnected from people, and we're becoming more and more disconnected. So there's just such high levels of mistrust amongst humanity now, which is so sad, you know. So I think it really helped me break that down, my trust thing, when I was walking, by those interactions with people on an everyday basis. So that was very nice.
So you basically say like every day was a new for you. Like you basically
Yeah.
interact with new people, and I guess there must be a language barrier too, right? Because South Indians mostly we speak of Telugu.
In Tamil Nadu, there was, yes. In Kerala, no. They usually they're quite educated in Kerala, so even everybody speaks some Hindi, or they even speak English. And Karnataka also they spoke Hindi, so it was and Goa also they spoke Hindi, so it was only in Tamil Nadu, yeah. But you know, my name is Kartikeya, so I just
Yeah,
had to say my name in Tamil Nadu, and they would be very happy.
yeah,
Because I don't know if you know, but Kartikeya is a god. They in India, Tamil Nadu is the place where they pray Kartikeya the most. He's called
yeah.
Murugan there. There are many temples in Tamil Nadu of Murugan, so they loved me in Tamil Nadu, even though I was North Indian, but it was very good.
I'm from actually from Andhra Pradesh, like from Tirupati.
Uh,
Yeah, I know about like in Tamil Nadu that Kartikeyan is as a god they'll pray, and it's a quite actual common name in Tamil Nadu.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that definitely helped me break the ice with South India, my name. So that was nice.
I want to ask you a question like there are like many types of meditations right now. Like some say vipassana, some say like 6 days meditation, some say like just sit down and close your eyes and chant some names, chanting meditation. I guess you have tried a better option. So what do you prefer in those meditations?
I think all of them have something unique to share. I personally also meditate with all different kinds of meditations. I don't do just one meditation. And I think ultimately, whatever is helping people become more connected, more in awareness, more out of the ego states, more just present, more in love. I think whatever is helping people arrive in those states is great. So people should do whatever helps them arrive in those states. So meditation is, you know, has become a buzzword nowadays because it's becoming so popular. But you know, there's more than that. If you do meditate or not, it's about the states of mind you're experiencing. So you can be experiencing very high states of mind even while sitting on a train or even while sitting in a taxi. So it's about awareness. So the more awareness you come into, you can start meditating. Your life can become meditation. So meditation is not about what practice you do. Of course, there are many practices that help. I do them as well, but it's about like you making your life a meditation. So I think that is what I would like to share in this topic, because you can have a very deep like exponentially expanding experiences just while doing that. You don't need other crazy things.
Exactly. Yes. And I want to ask, like, you work out and you do spiritual things and you write. So, what's your basic routine in a day goes like? Like, how you manage
For
all
last
this?
6 months, I have not had a routine. I haven't had a routine in the last 6 months. I am starting to get back to a routine now. I went through so many personal things, and I went through many things and health things, family health things. So I was in last. That's why I couldn't do even podcasts and stuff. So last 6 months, I was in a full chaos. So now I'm starting to create a routine and ground myself. So yeah, I'm getting back into my main workout is swimming. I've over the years, because of so many athletic things, my body has become very injured. So the best training I found for me is swimming, because it's an exercise that trains the whole body, but it's low impact training, so it works really well for me. So I've gotten back into swimming, and I'm going to get back into writing soon as well. And yeah, so it's just been yeah, it's been a roller coaster last month. So I'm just now landing after the roller coaster.
I have been following it since you like 3 years through Instagram, and suddenly you have deleted all your Insta posts. Was there any reason behind it? Like, why deleting all the posts? I have been reading the posts; they were very good, and the posts too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we try to understand it from the mind, there wouldn't be any logical reason behind it. But as I shared with you briefly in one of the questions before, in the last months, I went through a very similar kind of process as to what I went through when I was leaving New York, and a kind of a very deep death experiences were happening for me of the ego, because who dies is not the awareness, it is the ego that is dying, and it is our attachment to the ego that creates the suffering in us. So even the concept of death is just an illusion, actually. So I was experiencing a lot of ego death in the last months, which led for me to be going into spaces and experiences that demanded from me that I let go of many things from the past, and even the identity I'd built of myself around my whole work, which was writing and all these things. And a part of me started identifying to all of this as something that Kartikeya was doing, and it is what Kartikeya is here for. And I started seeking validation through it on a very subconscious level, and my ego started really growing through this process. And I had this moment of realization that I had left everything behind in the past to go on this journey to ensure that I wouldn't get sucked up by the ego and the world. But I had gotten into that again. And it was a moment of realization that I had to really let go of everything and start fresh from this understanding that whatever I'm here to share with people, it's not through Kartikeya, but not as Kartikeya, not for Kartikeya. So that happened for me, and it's still happening. I'm now integrating it. So it was just about coming back to my authentic self, reconnecting with the soul, and realigning with the present moment, in sharing with people what is there in the present, and not so much from the ego. So it was a complete ego death, which manifested itself in us having to delete Instagram and all these things, to really just let go of things from the past, to really bring forth people the teachings and the messages, and share as authentically as possible what has helped me in my journey over the years, to really transcend deepest of traumas, deepest of behaviors, human behaviors, and have helped me change my mind. So yeah.
So basically, another perspective, like your quotations, like they tend to instant motivation for me. Like nowadays in Instagram, as you can see, there is lot of stuff, other stuff like reels they are making, but these stuff motivate us. Like, so I thought, why he has deleted all these posts instantly, like everything. So I was thinking. So next, I want to
Yeah, and
know.
also, I think what happens, um, when you go into public life. Like, I never intended to become like in public life, or all these things. It was never my intention. My intention from the beginning was always. It was not even about motivating people. It was just sharing with people what was going in my experiences through self-realization, the understanding that I was gaining that was helping me change my mind, change my reality, change my way to day-to-day living and finding happiness, like simplicity. So I was getting lost from all of that. And when I realized what was happening, I had to come back to the basics of what I started everything for. And it ended up becoming, I was going into this mind frame where I was thinking about, oh, what will people think of my books? Or what will people think of what I will say, what I will write? But I don't want to be in that space. I don't care about that space. For me, it's not about what people will think, what people will say, what people are. It's about sharing what is truly coming through me. So that is, I needed to come back to that with full understanding of authenticity, to be sharing again with people what is really flowing through me. Because who I am with you, I want to be the same way with my wife, with my family, with friends, with strangers. I don't want to do acting. I don't want to pretend. I don't want to tell people things that I am not practicing myself. So it was really about, it was a very strong look at the mirror to really see what and why am I doing all of this for. And there was a moment where I really thought I would not be coming back to Instagram or any of these things. And coming back now to it is coming back from a very clear understanding that I'm not here to tell people anything or motivate them or blah, 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 blah. I'm just here to share whatever is coming through me. And if that motivates them, great. If that helps them, great. But it's not, my intention is not to control what other people will feel, because that is not in our control. All I can control is what I can share and what is really coming through me, and being as authentic as possible. And I think this is the message I want to share with people. Like, you gotta be who you are, inside, outside, everywhere. And that is the key to happiness. You cannot be acting. Who is acting is not you, it's the ego. And till the time you are identified with the ego, you're acting through the ego, you're playing roles through the ego, you won't find peace or happiness deep inside. It's just not possible.
But that's really an amazing answer. But don't you think, like, you're living in a society like this without ego or something like me? So doesn't we get into problems with people? Like,
No, I'm not saying to live without ego. Ego will always be there. We need ego to survive in this physical reality. It's about awareness. It's about awareness that we are not the ego. Ego is there.
yeah,
Ego is there. Ego will always be there. We need to become friends with the ego. For the longest time, I was fighting with the ego. So we don't need to fight with the ego. We need to become friends with the ego. We need to understand the ego. Ego is very complex. It's not like everything you think you understand ego, it's a trap, because ego is the most complex mechanism. It's the Maya. It's connected to the mind, which is the illusion. So you trying to understand it, it's a rabbit hole. You will spend your entire time trying to understand ego, and you will still not be able to fully understand it, because it's like the most complex program that is there, to be honest. So you cannot fight it. because you fighting ego is you creating suffering. You trying to kill the ego completely is also very, very hard. You have to be like, I don't know, Buddha to just not have any ego. You have to be in a divine state 24/7, which is unlikely. I'm not saying it's possible for everybody, but it's unlikely. So for common people like you and me, we need to understand the ego, we need to work with the ego, and we need to be aware of the ego so that we don't start living our lives completely consumed by it. Because when we get consumed by it, we just create suffering for ourselves and other people all the time. And we never are able to truly act from a place of awareness and understanding. So the key term here I want to leave with you is understanding. It is not about killing or fighting. It's about understanding. Understanding how your system operates, which includes the ego and the mind, the consciousness, and how you can work with it to change your reality internally and externally. Because you cannot change your external reality without changing the internal reality. It's not possible. They're both aligned. You can change your external reality and that may help you change internal reality. Yes, it's possible. You can change your internal reality. That will automatically change your external reality. It's law of nature. It's like, what you're feeling, you will start manifesting that. So it's just understanding all of these things on an experiential level. So once people start to experience this, they start to live like this, they start to understand it, that's when something happens in their lives that changes something in a good way.
Nice. Actually, hope some of the viewers and I myself apply this into our lives and understand with our ego and go with it together. Rather than
Honestly, whatever I'm saying to you, it's for myself as well. I have to say this to you, like, I don't write my books for others. I write my books so I can read them later because they help me in times of darkness. It's really just that. It's just a reflection for myself. They're reminders for myself. I just share it with people because I feel we're all going through similar things. We have different stories, but the human conditioning is the same. The mind works in a similar fashion. We have similar patterns. Ego works in a similar fashion. Thoughts, emotions, all these things work in a similar fashion. So the sharings are for people to just develop an understanding, which I am myself are doing. It's just that I've dedicated most of my time in doing this. So I have the privilege to really go deep into it and have the will to sit and write and share this with people, So the intention is that it's not sharing with people from a space of like, I know better. No, I read my books more than other people read because they help me, I was finding myself reading UNHERD last month and I was like, wow, these words are really helpful.
Whenever I go through your books, I feel like, yeah, how he wrote it, like, it's very nice. How he got these words aligned together in a word, like in a sentence. That's why it was really nice. So,
it's writing process is very interesting because for me, I think whenever I write, and I'm not writing so much right now, it's all coming through me. I'm not thinking, I'm not imagining what I need to write. It just all happens. So, as I said to you, like Kartikeya, the character, the role is there, he's playing it, and he's writing, but it's not his. Like, I don't own these books. It's just under my name. They're selling under my name. I don't own them. They're not my words. They've just come through me. And I think this is something when people start realizing in their lives as well, it will really help them because they won't be so attached to their possessions and creations. All our creations are a byproduct of what flows through us. And we need to realize we're not going to take anything with us. Nothing. We're not taking anything with us. Everything we create, everything we earn, everything we make of this life in this material world, it will be left behind in the material world when we leave this matter, which is this body. So this understanding is something you need to experience, and that will come through internal work, not external work.
Thank you so much, sir. And I have the last question for you. So, what is your message to the youth of India today?
My message to the youth of India, I don't know. What does the youth of India looking for? I don't know. I think I need a message from the youth of India. Give me a message. I don't
Basically,
know.
like an author perspective, you write books and you did a pilgrimage of 1,000 kilometers and you did ayahuasca and you are practicing some meditation since a long time. I just want to hear from you, like, what's your message to me, like to find my purpose in my life. We, even though we get all the things, we remain have many insecurities, depression. There are many problems right now. So I just want to hear from you. What's your perspective on this?
Yeah, look, I've gone through deep depression. I've struggled with anxiety, even after I do all these things, right? So I totally empathize with the youth of India in all the ways possible, and I understand the seriousness of mental health issues in today's time. It's very serious, and they need to be addressed very seriously and with a lot of responsibility and with a lot of empathy and compassion, because it's very complex, the whole thing. It's not just happening to one people or some people. It's happening to a lot of people, a lot of young people, and they are really struggling on a mental level. And maybe it's not visible on a physical reality basis, but it is, the suffering is as real internally as it can be, right? So I totally understand the suffering elements of it. All I can say in terms of that as a message is depression or anxiety, for that matter, are just states of mind. Depression happens from a state of mind that is living a lot in the past, that is not able to get over the past, that is not able to accept who you are in this present moment, in the situation you are in. And that may be the situation you don't imagine yourself to be. But first step is to accept the situation as what it is and start looking for moments in that situation that you can be grateful for. It can be your family, it can be your body, it can be your whatever that thing can be, right? Depression, I really feel, can be a blessing. It can be a blessing in the sense where it can be a state of deep rest in your mind, where your mind is just resting from having played scenarios and conditionings and limitations that were set upon it from having been born in a system and a society that is very limited in its understanding. So depression, I think the taboo around depression needs to be broken down, and it's as it's something negative. It's not. It's just a state of mind, and a state of mind can be changed. And the way to change the state of mind is to first accept that state of mind and to understand that state of mind, and to then seeing it as something not bad, as something that has come here to teach us something, to show us something. And now we have the choice to transcend the state of mind by coming into the present, by coming into acceptance, by being aware of our insecurities, by being aware of our fears, but not giving power to them, by coming to our meditations and be like, okay, I am in the present moment. The power is in me. The understanding is in me. The choice is in me. You know, and anxiety is usually coming from a space of agitation, or not being able to control something, or don't know what's going to happen in the future. And the world we live in is a very anxious world because of news, media, technology. So really just taking break from technology, taking break from news, taking break from information, to really like empty the mind a bit, you know, just do nothing for a few hours every day. Because everybody's always doing something. They're always like, their minds are constantly active. Like, how many times in a day people sit and do nothing? Doing nothingness is a blessing, really. You need to empty the mind. So it's all states of mind. And states of mind is what meditations, Buddhism, all these things teaches you. They teach you to navigate states of mind. They teach you to change states of mind. They teach you to expand different states of mind. So people need to understand these states of mind. They need to realize they can change these states of minds, and they have access to tools, let's say meditation practices around the world. Teachers are teaching, for free. People can access them for free on YouTube or whatever. So they should access them. And that is a first step. Like, going deeper comes much later. First step is just practicing simple things that I'm sharing now, that tools are there out there, to start accessing these tools to come into the present moment and be more with the awareness, be more with acceptance, be more with love, be more with gratitude. All these things. They're very simple things. They're ingrained in our value system, actually. If you go read any religious text, it will tell you to be humble. It will tell you to be more loving. Love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Jesus said this. So all religious texts have this literature.